Baseball family, welcome to this week's episode where we're going to preview the World Series right now. Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Baseball family, welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. We are here. We've arrived. This one's for the whole enchilada. I was going to get deeper into that quote.
Are you going to stop right there?
I was going to get... I just couldn't stop laughing. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to start the whole ball of wax. This one's for all the marbles. Oh, baseball family, we are pumped. And if you don't get that reference, then you have not yet seen baseball's greatest documentary of all time. Can you say greatest of all time? I think you can. It's a little redundant, sure. I guess. I've been editing all day, so I'm a little hip to my cliches and idioms and redundancies. It's pretty cool. Anyway, Brad, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm doing well. I'm excited for the World Series.
Yes.
I have been wanting this exact matchup, Brig, for has it been 7 years since we started talking about this? 5, 6 years, maybe?
Yeah, 5 or 6, at least. 5, at least 5.
I wanted it in 2017. How's that?
True. I did too.
We got robbed
honestly.
of it, and I've been wanting it ever since. So here we are.
We did. Here we are. Before we get too deep into this, baseball family, just to let you know a couple of things. One, stay tuned for the whole episode. We are going to break down a lot of stuff that you're going to want to be paying attention to. But before we do that, don't forget to get your World Series gear using the link in the description below. That's at fanatics.com. Use our link. It supports yourself and the show. And heck, if your team gets eliminated and you still want to get the gear at a discounted price, which will happen, don't worry, then it'll be pretty quick. One of them is going to get marked down really quickly. So use the code in the description. Go to fanatics.com and get your postseason, off-season, anytime, or football gear at Fanatics.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's a whole thing.
It's all
that happens.
There. It's all there.
All of it. Yeah, it's all yours. Mm-hmm. All right, Brad. First things first, baseball family. We are going to recap the championship series, and then we're going to preview the World Series. Okay, baseball family, if you don't know by now that it is illegal to say those words together without that gusto.
Any other way?
Yeah. At my house, I get scolded by the children if I don't do it that way because I have emphasized that they should do it that way. So I'll try to keep it, the way it's supposed to be. Anyway, it's going to get annoying if I'm not careful. So I'll try to rein it in a little bit. All right. First things first, the NLCS was wild. It was wild. My initial thoughts and feelings come down to, holy crap, that's a lot of offense. Unprecedented, I feel like,
around.
Amounts of offense. Just atrocious. And that leads me to believe, somewhat speculatively, but also based on the eye test and scoreboard watching and box scores, that there is some pitching problems in the National League, and there are some defensive problems in the National League, and there are some terrific offensive capabilities. So, what do you think, Brad? What's your initial impression?
I would say more pitching problems, offensive capabilities. I didn't feel like there was a lot as far as fielding issues. Fielding felt mostly okay.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like there were any major issues. There were times in the Cleveland, we'll get there, in the Cleveland-New York series, where it was whoa, no, you got to make that play, right?
Right.
Pete Alonso had a throwing error at one point, but it was forced by good base running.
And he absorbed a throwing error.
And he absorbed a throwing error, right? And there was almost a collision on a throwing error in Game 6, right? But the throw was made off balance, so it's kind of that's a play that's made by a starter, but it was a backup. So it's okay, I expect that, right? So I didn't feel like there were defensive issues. Mostly it's just there was a whole lot of offense on both sides.
Yeah.
Right?
Amazing amounts. Like, for instance, game 1, which was in Los Angeles, the Mets got completely shut out, and the Dodgers scored 9 runs in that game.
Guess how many home runs were hit in that game, Brig? Goose egg. That's right. There were no home runs on 9 runs. That's bananas.
Well, it's good base running, right? That's small ball capitalized, and you're manufacturing runs. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Good base running, good hitting, just all around solid offensive production. And I feel like that's just what we saw from the Dodgers the entire series. They only shut down really one time.
Yeah.
The other time their pitcher got lit up. But anyway, we'll get there.
Super lit up. I thought game 1 was an anomaly at first. I was watching it and I thought, whatever, bag it. Let's roll over, water it down, and come back tomorrow, right? And that's pretty much what happened. They showed up in game 2, and the Mets, they didn't shut out the Dodgers, but they blew them away 7-3.
It was never really close. The game was not as close as the final score showed, and we talked about that before last week. That the Mets answered blow for blow with like, you want to go offensive firepower? We'll go offensive firepower. Here we go.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, this is going to be an offensive battle the whole way, and it really was, right? Like,
yeah, it was.
You moved to game 3, and the Dodgers answered back again. Like, okay, here we go, 8-0.
Right.
It's like,
try and hit this pitching one time.
Yes,
it was fabulous. And that game moved to New York, obviously. And that one and the following 2 games were in New York. Game 4 in New York, another offensive display. Mets go 2 runs. Dodgers racked up 10. Yikes. That was bad.
That was the point where I was kind of like, okay, the Mets are in trouble. They're not dead, but they're definitely in trouble, because even after the 8-0 in game 3, I didn't have the Mets dead, because again, it's like, okay, are we just going back and forth? Is this how this is going to be? But game 3 was, I mean, obviously it put them on the brink because they took a 3-1 lead, but at the same time, though, I was kind of like, I'm not going to write them off yet. Especially after what happened in Game 5.
Game 5, Mets go 12 runs. Dodgers put up 6. The whole time, it was just this roller coaster of what is happening. It seemed like every time I tuned in, I thought, okay, this can't be real. We're playing in a video game simulation, or it's in London and nobody told us.
Well, so the thing to me that was crazy about Game 5 was the fact that Jack Flaherty got lit up.
Yeah,
straight up. He gave up 8 runs, and I think he went 3+. Yeah, looks like he just went 3. 8 runs. Sorry, it was 3+. It was 3+ because the score was 8-1 after the third, and he was responsible for all 8 of those runs. So at that point, to me, that game was over, even though the Dodgers showed some sign of life because they have the offensive capability to pretty much always do so. Yeah, because that's one thing, is they did not get shut out at all during this series. The Mets got shut out twice. The Dodgers did not at all, and they scored double figures twice is all, even though they knocked on the door 4 times in all 4 wins.
Exactly. They really love to score runs over there in LA, and it's a little terrifying, but we'll get into that. Game 6 moved back to Los Angeles. Mets lost 5-10, if you didn't know. And it was a bruiser. It was a brutal game, start to finish, and you could just feel the momentum just ooze out of the New York dugout. As every inning progressed, I thought, oh, man. And then I thought, oh, geez. And then I thought, holy crap.
Well, so really what it was is it was 7-4 going into the 8th inning, right? And then the Mets just could not get it done. They left the bases loaded a few times. That's going to kill you. right? Like,
that's a huge problem.
For sure. Let's see. I'm looking right now. In the top of the 8th, they left the bases loaded. They had a chance to tie. Left the bases loaded. Oh wait, no, sorry, not in the 8th. My bad. I misread that one.
Knock it off.
I apologize for misreading the internet. They left them loaded in the 6th.
Yeah.
They left them loaded in the 3rd. And I think it was Jesse Winker both times. No, one time was Jeff McNeil. But anyway, they left the bases loaded a few times, so they definitely had their opportunities, right?
For sure.
And then for me, it was the nail in the coffin was the bottom of the 8th inning, where the Dodgers scored on a double, a sac fly, and a single. Scored 3 runs, just manufactured them. Right? Like at that point, I was just like, they can't make that up because you're going to be going up against who they have to face. Blake Trinan, who's been pretty dang good.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was like, they're not scoring 4 runs against
Were
him,
you as surprised as I was to see Diaz come out to close out the 3rd or whatever it was?
Not really,
like, huh,
just because.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was. They had him come out for the 4th, but it was mostly because you got to keep that game close, right?
Right.
That at that point the score was 6-3, and you can't let that deficit get any bigger at that point. And you've got the top of the order coming up. You got to throw the best stuff you got right there.
That's right.
And then I thought it was interesting using Kodai Senga there in the 8th, and he just couldn't get it done.
Just didn't work.
Yeah.
Desperation moves. Once they started breaking from what I thought would have been the program, right? They stopped being able to play the game they set out to play, and they started having to play reaction. And that's why I mean, like, as every inning progressed, I just saw things go off the rails. Oh, crap, what are we going to do? Let's patch it up this way. Oh, that didn't work. What are we going to do? Let's patch it up this way. It just felt like a reaction game constantly from New York, and they just couldn't pull it together despite their best efforts. And I think they were their best efforts.
Right, I think so too. I think you're right though with that reactionary, and not to say that wasn't the game plan, right? That they hadn't drawn it up and said we'll go with Diaz in this spot, but the fact that was what they had to do though,
right?
I think you're right though. That's the point where you're like you're kind of toast if you have to, if you feel like you have to go to Diaz this early, you're kind of in trouble.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So once he came in, and I was like, that's it. I don't know if this is going to work out. And it didn't. So the end. Dodgers advance to the World Series. And let's move on.
Well, hold
on.
Anything
else you want to say about the NLCS?
Yeah, I actually have a question for you about this one.
Okay. All right.
So, spoilers, the Yankees clinched on the road, right?
They did.
The Dodgers clinched at home. Which would you rather do?
I would rather win. I don't care. Clinching is clinching. Care where? Nope.
And I'm not saying lose on the road so you can clinch at home.
No, yeah, for sure.
Do you think it would be better to clinch in front of your home fans or to spray champagne all over the visiting clubhouse?
No. You want to do it at home. That makes everybody knows you want to do it at home. I don't think that's a question. I think, if it's an ideal world, if we're scripting it, then yeah, clinch at home, obviously. Because at one point in the Cleveland series, the Cleveland fans got so quiet there at the end of Game 5 that you could hear "Let's Go Yankees" through the broadcast.
Yeah,
and it was intense. I mean, that's a big deal in a winner-take-all playoff game. And then all 30 of those fans, or whatever it was, stuck around to watch the ceremony, and they're all in their pinstripes, and it was super cool. But it did feel a little bit anticlimactic to get the trophies out and crown the MVP and things like that in Cleveland. I don't know. I feel you, but I don't care. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Either way, you just want to win. That doesn't matter.
We just want the parade. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
The parade. Mm-hmm. That's all anybody cares about. I get it.
Should we jump into the ALCS?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the ALCS I watched every single moment of, and it was crazy. These were some of the best games that I've seen in a long time. Part of that is homerism, because I am deeply invested as a Yankees fan, and
Right.
every momentum shift, every to and fro, all of the uh-oh moments felt bigger for me. Um, just like they would if it was your team, right? You would feel it would be
Yeah.
a greater
Yeah.
level of resonance. However, I still think that the way these games transpired, hoity-toity language there, the way these games went with all the lead changes, it was tooth and nail. It was a grudge match, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
So I will say this: that game one, I don't feel like had the tension or the action associated with the others, just because it was the Yankees got out to a 4-0 lead by the fourth inning, right?
That's true.
And by that
Yeah.
time, it's kind of like, okay, it doesn't feel like Cleveland has what it takes to come back from this. Game two was better, right?
Mm-hmm.
A whole lot better.
A whole lot better.
And that was a 6-3 game, but still, like, that was a 3-2 game after the fifth inning, and so
Yeah.
that's way more exciting. And then the Yankees pulled away,
Yeah.
and the ending wasn't as good. But where the games got really, really great, absolutely
Mm-hmm.
great, was in
Like
Cleveland.
iconic.
Those were some of
Iconic
the
great.
most exciting postseason games we have seen in a long time. We didn't get near that level of excitement from the NLCS because it was so
No.
high scoring, and not just high scoring, but blowouts. The
Yeah.
closest score differential was, I think, 4 runs. But these ones, it was extra innings twice in Cleveland.
Twice.
Like I told you, I think it was on Saturday. I was like, I've been waiting for the eighth inning all day,
Yeah, you did.
all day long. I don't care about innings 1 through 7 tonight.
Yeah.
I want to get to the eighth inning and see what happens,
Yeah. Yeah,
because
and
that's when it
you
gets
were
real, and that's when it
rewarded.
goes down. Yeah,
You were rewarded. That was it was I sat there. I was like, okay, the whole family knows the rules, right? We've all got our etiquette cards and we're checking off. We're like, don't move, as of this way. Okay, you have to change positions. And I'm policing everybody the whole time. I'm like, don't move, don't move, don't move. Stop.
you must be a real joy to watch the game with, Brig.
Well, listen, I have people who are learning baseball, so I'm not a tyrant. And I also wouldn't have to explain these things if I was watching. Next year, they'll get it. It won't be a thing to worry about. Olivia said to me, one of my kids said to me, hey, let me get it for you so you don't have to move. I was like, yeah, you get this. It
That's a
was
proud dad moment
amazing.
right there.
Yes, it was so good. She even at one point she said to me, did that happen because I moved? I'm like, no, honey, no, of course not.
The correct answer to that question, though, was yes. You just don't want to make her feel bad.
I didn't admit it to her. I don't know. What am I going to do, right? She didn't carry that for the rest of her life.
Could you imagine? She moves, and then there's a whole rally. The Yankees lose, and get eliminated. She's like, it's because I put my shoes on. That's
my fault.
what happened.
I
Took my shoes off. I wanted to get
I
comfortable.
twisted
Take
my hat around backward, and now it's over.
Fidgeted as an 8-year-old, and the Yankees lost and got eliminated.
My dad, he'll be mad at me for the rest of my life. No. Firmly, my tongue is firmly in my cheek right now. But we had such a great time watching the games, and there's some real budding baseball fans at my house. It's just awesome.
That's cool. Awesome. That's a lot of fun.
So, and Marina she was like, now hold on, wait a minute, they can't do that. So she's really getting into it. She even said to me ahead of game 4, she's like, I don't know, this one's tight. But then game 5, she revealed after that she had no tension. She felt really good about it. She was at work all day and was thinking, nah, it's fine. It's no big deal. Me, don't feel that way. Never, ever.
You don't feel that way when your team is in the playoffs. You never feel good about it because all you think about are the things that can go wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's how it feels. Because that's the thing that's crazy about the playoffs is that it's an extra gear for everybody, and everything is amplified. The good is amplified, the bad is amplified, and the bad is what you remember, because the bad that blows the game, that's when you remember. That is what you remember forever. There is still a play from the 1995 ALCS that I remember where there was a pass ball, 1 run came around, they thought that the play was over, didn't get the ball back to the pitcher, and so somebody came around, scored from second on a pass ball. It's like, Brig, I didn't even watch it live. I watched it recorded later on a VHS tape. And I remember
And
that
back
play
then,
to this day.
And back then you could, because nobody was going to blow it for you. There was no
Yeah,
such thing
exactly.
as a social media spoiler.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So game
Yep.
3 in Cleveland, Cleveland pulled ahead and won the game 7-5. That was in the 10th inning, and it was a walk-off, and it was just glorious for Cleveland fans. And it was
Eight of the 12 runs were scored 8th inning and on.
Yep.
The Yankees got 3 in the top of the 8th, 1 in the top of the 9th. Cleveland scored 2 to tie it up in the bottom of the 9th, and then that big old fatty walk-off home run by David Fry in the 10th inning. And I got to say, some of the stuff on social media that they showed where there was somebody a few buildings over from Progressive Field with their camera trained on the field, and you could hear the reaction. I'm sure they had a special microphone. They probably had some kind of mic on their camera or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you could hear the crowd roar was bonkers.
It was so cool.
Would be so crazy.
Like, I'm obviously a Yankees fan, but I watched that and thought, yep, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. It just is how it's supposed to be. And it was thrilling. Yep. Even though we lost, I have to admit it was thrilling. And it was, for the sake of baseball, it was spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to.
Did you hear the call in the bottom of the 9th from what's that dude's name? Golly, Jockenzie Noel. Did you hear what the call was when he hit that game tying?
No,
yeah, that big time, that game tying home run. It was Feliz Navidad.
That's amazing.
So that's where all the Feliz Navidad signs came from the next night for game 4, which, by the way, also a thriller.
Man, Giancarlo Stanton is a whole new person in October. Dude, who is this guy? Because Judge has hit 2 home runs the entire series. No, I'm sorry, the entire postseason.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry, I made that mistake. Both against Cleveland, one on Tuesday and one on Thursday. So one in New York and one in Cleveland. But that dude's got to step up literally to the plate against the Dodgers. We need his offensive performances.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. We'll talk more about that in a little bit.
We will.
But, so in the bottom of the 8th inning, David Fry again. So David Fry walked it off the night before, and then David Fry comes up and it's a little. I don't think it was a bunt. I think it was just a swinging bunt.
Yeah, it was a dribbler.
And Leiter ends up. That's what I remember the play now. That was the one where he tossed it right through Anthony Rizzo's wickets.
Oh, jeez.
Ball went into right field, and David Fry ends up going to second. Bo Naylor scores to tie the game. But then they walk Jose Ramirez. Smart move. You don't want him up with
no kidding.
Go-ahead run on second base. And then Josh Naylor strikes out. Just like you thought he would.
Right. Yep, I called it. So Stanton has hit a home run in the last 3 games. He did it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all in Cleveland. He's responsible in that run for 6 RBIs. He's responsible for 6 RBIs. And in his 4, here's the thing that kills me. In his 4 plate appearances yesterday or Saturday, it was 3 strikeouts. His 4 plate appearances on Friday, 2 strikeouts. He didn't strike out at all on Thursday or Tuesday, actually.
That's pretty dang good for Stanton. Like, home runs aside, for him to not strike out at all in a game is pretty good, especially given because he's one of the big 3 outcome guys, right? And walking really isn't even that common with him. It's mostly a 2 outcome with him, strikeout or home run. But for him to only, or I guess not strike out at all in a game, pretty good.
It's amazing. Yep, it's absolutely amazing.
So is he the first Yankee ever to hit 5 home runs in a postseason? No, Reggie Jackson did it in 77. I was going to say
Reggie Barr in 77.
Reggie Jackson did it in 77. He hit 4 total in 78.
Right.
But if he hits one more, though, he'll be the first Yankee to hit 6.
It's amazing. Soto is averaging this postseason 333.
It's pretty absurd. I mean, you get to Ohtani's with runners on base numbers, that's bonkers. But still, 333 is pretty game numbers.
Good. 333 is good. He's got an 1106 OPS this postseason, and that home run, and then making the final putout in Game 5. It was the iconic Yankee moment we all wanted. It was the iconic Yankee moment we all needed, and it upped his free agency price tag by about $100 million. It went from $600 million to $700 million.
So
that's how it feels.
I was only like kind of being hyperbolic when I said that's why you pay this man $1 billion this winter.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Because there's something about having Juan Soto on your team that takes everybody else to another level. If you were to hit him behind Judge would get all the protection in the world.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You put anything you put him
Don't
on.
do that.
If you put him in the right spot in the lineup, he's going to make everybody in front of him better.
Yep, I agree.
And anybody who gets on base, he's going to drive in all the time because that's what he does.
He was responsible for 5, count them 6, of the RBIs against Cleveland in the ALCS.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So can we talk about Game 5 real quick?
We simply must.
That was another outstanding finish. Extra innings again.
Yeah.
And this was when I texted you, Brig, was Juan Soto hit that 3-run home run in the top of the 10th inning.
Yep.
And I was like, you have to give him all the money.
Mm-hmm.
And like Jeff Passan said on Seattle Sports Radio, everybody can afford him.
Everybody. Right. Now, here's the difference maker for me, right? In Game 5, Cleveland left 8 men on base. They were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position total. The Yankees left 4 on base and were 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. I'm going to keep beating this drum. If the Yankees can capitalize and on runners on the bases, if they can drive those runs in, they're going to be fine. If they leave more guys on base than the opposition, it's going to be a big problem. So I'm going to go look at Game 3.
That's the thing that's tough, is that they're getting all the traffic, but for some reason they can't seem to drive in. I mean, they drove in a bunch, because this is one thing we're going to get to later, is they hit a bunch of home runs.
Yep.
Right? But you can't live and die by the home run in the World Series. It worked in Cleveland because you've got the Cleveland jet stream.
Can't do it, though.
But Cleveland also took advantage of that a couple times. So
right. But I think the jet stream's a little bit nullified by the cold and by all those balls hit out to right. I feel like at left field, that's where the jet stream really comes in.
The jet stream goes out to right because that's where they took the seats out.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was left field for some reason, but you're right.
No, I think left field was a shorter porch, but yeah, right field is where the jet stream goes.
Because I think if we were to look at a spray chart, I think we would probably see most of them were right, from center to right field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking back.
But that one that Judge hit out in, what was that, Game 3? Game 4?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Game 3. That one that he hit out in Game 3, that screamer, that didn't even get up into the jet stream. That ball probably didn't get more than 25 feet off the ground ever.
It really felt it was a line drive that just kept going.
I feel bad for the poor sucker who was on the opposite end of that thing, because that's going to do some damage, man.
For sure. For sure. Oh, okay. I'm sick of looking at the past. Let's look ahead to the future.
Hold on. I have one fun fact.
Okay.
From Game 5. Okay.
Okay.
Game 5. Bottom of the second inning. Bo Naylor hits a line drive to right field. Scores Josh Naylor from first, by the way. First.
How?
He is sneaky fast, I feel like. He moves a lot better than he looks like he would. That dude can get around the bases.
Especially when his helmet flies off. Then it's going to be okay.
Also, the aerodynamics. But so here's a fun thing, Brig. Bo Naylor is the first player ever to drive in his older brother in the ALCS while playing on a grass surface with a waning gibbous moon. Straight facts.
Yes, that's amazing. You did call the waning gibbous, though. You did.
I absolutely
Ahead
called the
of it.
waning gibbous.
Yeah. And we're all happy about it. We are.
It's funny. I take the trash out every night, and for some reason, I always look up the moon and like, oh yes. I don't know why I do that.
Do you really?
I do. Yep.
That's awesome. You would.
Astronomy
you
nerd.
And your science background. Yeah.
Must be. All right, let's look forward. Let's look at the
Let's
World Series.
The Yankees and Dodgers are going to play in the World Series.
They are.
Fun facts. Let's go through some fun facts. The Yankees and Dodgers have played each other more in the postseason than any other two franchises. They've done so 11 times. The Yankees have won 8 of these matchups in the World Series. Los Angeles won the last matchup in 1981. They did so in 6 games. The two teams combined for a total of 34 World Series championships. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
That's
it's very lopsided, though.
Yeah. This is the 13th time. This is so cool to me. This is the 13th time number 1 seed teams have met in the World Series since 1969, which is when the divisional era began. And the last time this happened was 2020 when the Dodgers beat the Rays in 6 games. But the last time, obviously shortened season, the last time it happened in a full season was in 2013 when the Red Sox famously beat the Cardinals in 6 games. So it's been a long time coming.
It's been
a decade.
So here's something interesting about the last time these two teams met, though. So they met in 1981, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The Dodgers had those great teams in the 80s, went on and won in 88 for sure.
Yeah.
But the next time the Yankees made the playoffs after this 81 season, Brig, was not until 95.
I was going to say 95.
But since that 95 season, the Yankees have had some sustained greatness and have made it to the playoffs, won a few World Series during that time. The Dodgers, on the other hand, have kind of been peppered with some success until the last decade, really, when they've been completely dominant in the NL West with, their 5th World Series appearance?
Yeah, something like that. In a decade, yeah. I lost track.
Yeah.
I know they're like 7 in a row NLCS appearances or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to go double check it real quick just to make sure we have it accurate. Accuracy, Brig. Very important. So they have made the playoffs every year since 2013. They have 1, 2, 3. This is their 4th World Series appointment. 4th
appointment.
World Series appointment. Yes, appearance since then.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
It is. It is amazing.
And it is an appointment.
And the only time they didn't win the division was since 2013 was in 2021.
Yep. So let's talk about the Dodgers.
Sustained
They have 26 pennants. Their last World Series title was in the COVID-shortened season of 2020. The last full season championship came in 1988. Key players this time are Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Frederick Freeman, and Yamamoto. But Freddie is injured and grinding it out. Boy, that guy is tough as nails.
He is. He didn't start Game 6, and and my son, actually, we were sitting there watching. He's like, "Why isn't Freddie Freeman playing?" I was like, "Because he is injured, is why."
Yep.
So I was like, "He's like, so is he not going to play at all?" I was like, "No, I don't think he's entirely unavailable. I think what the situation is I think what they're doing is if they need a pinch hitter, they bring him in, but then he gets on base, he immediately comes out for a pinch runner." But here's the thing, though, is guys to watch. Role players, I mean, I don't know how much of a role player Max Muncy is these days because he's been so good. But it's like, when do you feel like you need to pinch hit Max Muncy for Freddie Freeman?
Right?
I don't know that you ever do.
Yeah. Well, Muncy in the postseason, 8 runs on 8 hits, 1 double, 3 homers, 5 RBIs, 18 total bases on with 12 walks and only 10 strikeouts. He's batting .242 with an OPS of 1014 is Max Muncy.
Yeah, Max Muncy has been absolutely amazing. And this is the thing: is maybe you pinch hit Anthony Rizzo for Chris Taylor
Frederick
potentially.
Freeman. Not Rizzo, Freeman.
That's what I meant. Yeah, you're right.
They're two injured first basemen.
Infinitely connected in my mind. Those
with
two.
The Frederick rundown.
Well, just same position. They have the same, exact same build. Like, it's bonkers. Mm-hmm. Those two might as well be brothers to me. But
I agree.
But the one guy who I have in my mind, who I'm like, maybe you would pinch hit for Andy Pajes. Maybe.
Sure.
But he had a 2 home run game in the NLCS, so you probably don't want to still, because the dude can rake. Right? Dude can mash. So, but then Kevin Kiermaier pinch hit for him, or came in for him. I'm assuming it was a defensive replacement in Game 6. So it's like, you have other guys you can put in there. So is Freddie Freeman a break glass in case of emergency situation? I don't know, because the Dodgers are super duper deep.
They are, and it's really well balanced. When you look at total bases, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their players, only 5 have sub-double digit total bases this season.
And one of them is Freddie Freeman, and that's because he's been injured. And one of them's
Freddie. Yep.
He's taken them one at a time.
Freddie has 1 run on 7 hits this postseason. He's responsible for 1 RBI, 7 total bases. He struck out 6 times. He's currently batting .219 with an OPS of a measly .461. And here's what kills me. He's got a stolen base this postseason.
He's probably the back end of a double steal. Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. But he's one of the only guys that is, I would say, underperforming, though given his injury situation, he is producing above the standard. He is exceeding expectations given what he's going through. The other guys with fewer than double-digit total bases are Gavin Lux with 8, Chris Taylor has 3, Rojas has 2, and Kiermaier has 0. But
Kevin Kiermaier
has 0 everything's.
2 at bats. So
yeah, he's got 0 almost
slack.
Yeah. I will not.
But
your strikeout
really
leaders,
though, go ahead with the
strikeout leader is really interesting to me. Shohei Ohtani leads the team in strikeouts with 17 this postseason.
Because he hasn't been hitting with nobody on base, which is weird given the fact that he's your leadoff guy.
It's bizarre, man. It's totally bizarre. It's like go for broke with him most of the time. He has 12 hits. Tommy Edman has 15. Tommy Edman coming out of literally nowhere, it feels like. I mean, I know he's been a contributor, but this guy is in a new level. I think he's
finally healthy. I think he's finally healthy is what it is. Mm-hmm. Is that because he came back from that, what was it, a wrist injury?
Something like that. Yeah,
he came back from some kind of injury, and I think what it is it, because sometimes it takes a little bit to get back to where you need to be after something like that. And I think he's there. So this is what I was wondering. So do we just look at Tommy Edman's numbers and be like, yeah, that's Miguel Vargas's contribution to this team?
Yeah. Yes. Give that man a ring if he gets. Give him an NLCS ring.
Tommy Edman went yard the other day, and I was like, "Hey, that's a Miguel Vargas home run right there."
Yeah, or not, given the substitution.
Right, the upgrade.
Yeah, it's definitely an upgrade. Hit leaders, though, Edman 15, Mookie Betts 13, Shohei Ohtani 12, and then Kike Hernandez has 10. Everybody else is single digits. That's pretty good. In that same line, Tommy Edman's averaging 341, Betts 295, Ohtani 286, and Kike is 303. For me, Kike Hernandez has been that quiet. I don't know if you can mix quiet and juggernaut, but that dude has been pretty dang consistent.
So the thing about Kike Hernandez, I feel like, is you just have to get him on a team that gets to the playoffs. It's right. For him, it's just like, get me to the playoffs.
I'll wake
everybody
up and
else
show
carry
you.
the heavy load. I'll carry a heavy load once we get there, but get me there
Yeah.
and I will turn it on for you, because that's what he
Yep.
does, especially with the Dodgers. I don't know what it is about that guy in a Dodger uniform, but when he's in the playoffs, he's a monster. And freaking Kike Hernandez is like giving you problems because you're trying to take care of Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and even a hobbled Freddie Freeman.
Right. And Muncy.
And apparently Max Muncy. Yeah, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow.
yeah. It's like,
Oh man, I
what
thought
do you
Max
do?
Muncy
What
was
do you
done.
do?
I thought
I
Muncy
thought
was
he was
done.
done too. Yeah,
I
I thought his
didn't.
injury this year, that was going to be the end of it.
Me
But
too.
no,
I thought this
he's
is
back.
completely unexpected. Home run leaders, they've got 20. Let's get into these details we wrote down, okay? Because we got a whole bunch of notes here.
Go for it.
Well, let's talk about Teoscar Hernandez though for a minute, because Teoscar Hernandez has also been contributing despite only having 2 home runs and batting .200 with a .690 OPS. I feel like he has come through in some major clutch moments.
He has not been there for them really the last 2 games. He struggled the last couple of games, but early on, he was a dude for them. 16 total bases, 10 hits. I mean, that's pretty dang good. 303. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong Hernandez there.
Yeah,
14
7
total
runs
bases
on 8
though.
hits. Yeah. And he's working walks. That's the thing. He's got 9 walks. Wow, 13 strikeouts. That's
what he
number
does.
3 on
That's
the
what
list.
he does though.
I know.
Yeah, he still strikes out, but the fact that he has 9 walks, that shocks me as somebody who watched him play pretty much every day last year.
You did. Yeah, you really did, huh? So
Yep.
I think it's no surprise that the Dodgers' edge will be in offense. They are explosive. They're dangerous. They run the bases well. I feel like there are very few base running mistakes, which is a contrast, and we'll get into that in a minute. They had 46 total runs over the 6 games in the NLCS. That's 7.67 runs per game. That is good enough to get it done in almost every situation. Now,
Feels like it.
Now, pitching obviously plays a role in that, and their opposition. But and that's the thing they're lacking, is their starting pitching is kind of shaky, held together with twine, I think is what you said. But they got the duct tape and the twine in the right spots a couple of times.
Duct tape. I said duct tape and zip ties, but I think twine is more likely sometimes. Because this is the thing that's crazy. They're running a 3-man rotation right now. 3 starting pitchers with Yoshinobu Yamamoto. His ERA is 5.11. Walker Buehler has a 2024 postseason ERA of 6. Jack Flaherty has a postseason ERA this year of 7.04. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah. So those 7.67 runs per game, they need I mean, they haven't because the bullpen's been good, but it feels like they're going to need every bit of it.
They are going to need every bit of their bullpen. Guess how many quality starts they've secured this postseason?
The postseason, I'm going to say 2.
1.
They
have 1 quality start. It goes to Flaherty.
Because he had one good outing.
That's bad.
It is bad.
I don't care who you are. That's bad. And that's something the Yankees are going to need to capitalize on if they're going to want to do anything positive.
So here's kind of been the solution to that 3-man rotation that they're running, though, is they go with a bullpen day, which obviously worked out well against the Padres in Game 5 of the NLDS. I was shocked by that. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to go well, or maybe it was Game 4. I think it was Game 4.
I don't remember.
It went way better than I thought it was going to.
Oh yeah, it was Game 4.
Obviously worked out.
Yeah.
And so they went with a bullpen game again in Game 6 of the NLCS.
I know.
Started Michael Kopech, who has a 1.69 ERA, 1 start, 6 total appearances this postseason. Granted, he's thrown a third of the innings of Flaherty, who is the innings leader this postseason. He's thrown 150 fewer pitches, but still, I think Kopech is your starter on your bullpen day.
He's going to have to
throw him out there.
He's going to have to be, because I don't know who else you're going to put out there. We've got,
Brazier can do it. Brazier can do it. He started a couple of those bullpen days. But my thing is that the Dodgers are so good at jumping out early that if you can shut down the Yankees early and then get out to an early lead, I think that helps things a lot.
It's going to help things a lot. When the Yankees can jump out to an early lead, they do really well. I feel like the Yankees' offensive capabilities go up and down. There are, it seems like, hours of quality at bats with no production, or a bunch of strikeouts. That's how it goes in the middle of the games, and then you'll get like a fourth or fifth inning explosion, and then it's over until their backs are against the wall and they need more. That's kind of what we saw against Cleveland repeatedly. And that's because the lineup is so imbalanced, but we're still talking about the Dodgers. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
So here are some home stats because they're going to play home and away. So we've got home and away splits right here, and these are just postseason numbers. Teams batting overall at home, 234, 339, 362. They've got a 701 OPS collectively. They've worked 30 total walks. They've had surprisingly, only 7 home runs, accounting for 33 total runs. Only 7 of them have been bombs.
They don't rely on it. They don't rely on the
No.
home run. I think that's going to be huge for them.
It is. It's going to be
The home
absolutely
runs feel
huge.
like they're gravy with the Dodgers.
Their pitching stats at home, team ERA collectively 4.50. Again, these are just postseason numbers. 7 2/3 strikeouts per 9, 1.13 whip, and 54 total innings pitched.
That's just 7.2 because it can be 7.5. So 7.2.
7.2. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Strikeouts per 9.
I was thinking innings pitched. Yeah, 7.2 strikeouts per 9. Now that's at home. Their away stats, and some of this gets really interesting because it is more balanced than I thought it would be. Batting away, 268, 363, 508, an 871 collective OPS, 25 walks, 13 home runs this postseason in away games, and 37 total runs. Pitching away this postseason, team ERA 4.19, 7.7 Ks per 9, 133 whip, 1.33 whip, and a 43 total innings pitched. I was not surprised, or I was very surprised to see how level that turned out to be.
It is pretty level. I think that part of the reason you see some of those numbers, like slug is higher on the road, OPS obviously is higher on the road. I think part of that is the bigger ballpark in LA. That's a big old yard down there in LA.
Yeah, it's a field.
Yeah.
It's not a yard.
So
it's a field.
I think that's has a lot to do with that you go back to New York, it's a smaller ballpark at Citibank. The lines in San Diego are a little bit smaller. They're a little bit shorter. So you're going to hit more out, right? And then if you got a deep center field, it's going to make your alleys bigger. But I feel like a lot of that has to do with the size of the ballpark at Dodger Stadium. But that offense is put together for that home park.
Right.
So
of course it is.
It works. It works for them.
It's super interesting because I don't know. You think with the air quality and the warmth and stuff like that, they'd be hitting them out more. But I think we're going to see some of that in October.
They're like 5 feet above sea level at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, you're right. The balls are going to pop more this World Series. You just wait. They're going to pop more. We're going to see it. I think we're going to come down to offensive slugfests or pitching duels a lot. Defensively, they committed 2 errors the entire postseason so far. That's it. 2.
And one of them was a Manny Machado high IQ play. The other one was a throwing error by Chris Taylor off balance. So I don't think, like I said, those throwing errors, not a big deal to me.
Nah, it's going to be just fine as far as errors are concerned. Let's move on to my Yankees. Hold on. Let's get to the ivory tower. We need a minute to climb. Nah, we got a golden elevator. All right, 41 pennants. Their last World Series title was 2009. That was the year I joined the Army, Brad.
Oh, nice.
I've been retired for a minute. I got out a while ago. So that was the year I joined the Army. I always put that in perspective. And Anthony Volpe was in short pants, as Lee Lowenfish and Jerry Eisenberg would say. They're in short pants. Key players to watch, obviously, are going to be Judge, Soto, Stanton, and Garrett Cole is going to be a big deal. Although there are other pitchers that, like Luke Weaver, we definitely have to be paying attention to Luke Weaver. And if we can make sure that Luke Weaver doesn't get too many looks and certainly not too many back-to-back appearances, he's going to continue to be okay. All right. Now, Anthony Volpe, this one blew my mind. Anthony Volpe is batting .459 in the postseason.
Wow.
Did you know that? Or, sorry, not
I
batting.
knew that.
On base percentage. I read that wrong.
But still, that's good, though. That's still really good.
It is.
For a guy who has not been known for his bat to this point.
Exactly. Stanton leads the team in homers with 5. Soto's average is .333. But check this out. Guess who leads the team in hits this postseason? Just guess.
I would have to say, is it Austin Wells?
No,
he hasn't been good.
No, it's Glaber. Glaber Torres has 11 hits
Soto.
this postseason.
Juan Soto has 11
Soto
as well.
Has 11, and Stanton has 10.
Half of those home runs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so funny.
So I think that there are a lot of role players on this team, and I think it's more balanced than we want to give them credit for. But I think that's because this ALCS was so hard fought. I think it was just hard to see standouts compared to the way we saw the Dodgers stand out. That's what I think. Especially offensively.
Here's the thing that's interesting. So you look at the Yankees, their team, just straight up their batting average, right? Like Anthony Rizzo has 14 at bats and he's hitting .429. Then you go to the everyday guys. Juan Soto with 33, he's hitting .333. Volpe with 29 ABs, he's hitting .310. Gleyber Torres, 297. Stanton hitting .294. And then it drops off a cliff.
Yeah.
Go to Alex Verdugo, 194. Birdie, 182. But he's only got 11 at bats. But Judge is down there, 161. And Jazz is at 147.
I know.
That's the problem.
These guys would kill to see the Mendoza line right now. Like, they just would kill for it.
They would.
And we would kill for them to creep up on it a little bit. It would just be such a big deal.
But that's the thing that's such a huge difference to me, is that you have to go so far down the list for the Dodgers to find anybody. Teoscar Hernandez is hitting 200. But he still feels like he's been a contributor because of the home runs that he hits. Exactly. Although it's like, well, he was missing the last couple of games, but it didn't matter because you've got Tommy Edman, Kike Hernandez, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Chris Taylor, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. I think they rely too much on the long ball. That's been part of their problem for a decade, I guess. Like 7 years at least.
This is the thing, though, Brig, is you build a team to your ballpark, and when you have a short porch and right, not much deeper and left, you can do that.
Right. You can. I know.
And just
until you got to go to Chavez Ravine.
Right. That's where you run into problems because the Red Sox do the same thing. They hit guys who can hit long fly balls into right field at Fenway, and that goes out because that's a little league field out there. And then if you got
not at right field, no, it's not. It's a
right
power
field
alley.
Is so short. It's like 305 down the
in
line.
The corner,
don't even
you
got to
wrap it around the pole at Fenway to get at 305.
I don't care. The wall is 3 feet high. You will break your knees catching a ball, catching a line drive at Fenway. I don't want to hear that from anybody.
Yeah.
But then you get right-handers who can hit line drives and pepper the monster. That's just how you build your team. And so the Yankees rely so much on the long ball because of the dimensions of Yankee Stadium. End of rant.
Thank you for ranting. I appreciate that. I could barely hear you from all the way up here.
Shouting up to the ivory tower.
31 total runs scored this postseason, in the ALCS. Was that the ALCS 31 total runs scored
in 5 games?
In 5 ALCS games. Yeah, that's right. 6.23 runs per game. 17 came via the home run. That's 55%. 1 home run at least in every game, and often was the difference maker. The problem is, so we get guys on base, and that's terrific. But we either leave them on base, or we have weird base running problems, or we ground into double plays like a lot. And I am really upset about those facts.
This is going to be one of the things that the Yankees are going to run into problems with, is that a lot of guys for the Yankees, you get them on base, and they have to get moved around. They cannot make progress on their own.
It's
Whereas
true.
the Dodgers are going to steal a lot more bases. They have not stolen a whole lot of bases because they haven't really had an opportunity to. I feel like the Dodgers have been taking care of business early in the count. Was one of the things that they benefited from with the Mets. Yep. But if they don't have to take care of stuff early in the count, they can move. They can have guys who can move themselves up. And given Jose Trevino's history so far, throwing the ball to bases, trying to get runners, and I don't know how Austin Wells has been, but at the same time, though, I would not be surprised to see the Dodgers steal more bases because they have way more speed on the bases than the Yankees do. I would, and that's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. You're absolutely right. So the thing about, we can't trust either of our catchers right now at the plate. Behind the plate, it becomes very clear who's a superior backstop. I think Wells is far and away better defender
right now.
That dude became what Jose Trevino was the last few seasons in defensive capability. He will smother everything. Nothing gets by that guy. Nothing. And he'll make a decent throw. He'll make a decent pickoff throw, but it's not as good as it needs to be. And they're both literally anemic at the plate. Like, I could get uglier, but I won't because it's a family show. But it's really bad. So the Yankees' home stats, just this postseason, they're batting .260, .368, .425. They've got a .794 collective OPS. 23 walks, 5 homers, 19 total runs. Okay? That's at home during this postseason. Pitching at home, team ERA 3.0. That's just a flat 3. They 10.8 strikeouts per 9, Brad. 10.8.
Pretty good.
One, that's pretty good. 1.28 whip and 36 total innings pitched at home. When you move to the away stats, things change a little bit. Batting .220, 328, 405 with a 733 OPS. They've got 28 walks worked, 8 home runs, 24 total runs. See, things get a little squirrely. Away pitching away, team ERA 3.47. They strike out with 7.3 per 9, a 1.33 whip. That's over 46 2/3 total innings pitched.
So here's something that's interesting.
Tell us.
I always talk about how home field does not matter in baseball in the playoffs.
You lie, though. You don't know.
It seems like it matters to the Yankees. And I think part of that, I don't think it's necessarily so much the field or the hostile environment. Yankee Stadium this postseason, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it feels like it's been loud from the first pitch.
Oh, dude.
Whoever is pitching for the Yankees, it doesn't matter if it's a ball or a strike. The entire stadium is like, yes, the baseball game has started.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't stop. It doesn't
if
stop
my house,
until the game
if
is over.
my house is any indication of a very fractional amount of what it's like in the stadium, then yes, we are recreating the cathedral at home.
Because that's what it feels like at Yankee Stadium this postseason. Is just they're excited the game started. They don't care what's happening. They might cheer an opposing team lead off home run just because it means the game is underway.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
if it's the first
I
pitch.
Get your point. Here's the thing I want to say. First, let's get into fielding. The Yankees have committed 5 postseason errors in the field. That's 3 more than LA, for those of you actuaries who are paying attention to numbers. We've got an imbalance there. What I do think is interesting, and I'm going to look this up to double check, but errors committed does not include, those 5 do not include Gleyber Torres.
Right. I noticed that.
Make it make sense. I mean, I'm happy about it, but make it make sense.
I cannot, because it was funny because the other day something happened. Oh, his birdie made that error. And I was like, yep, that's about right. And then I double checked. I was like, oh, wait, Gleyber's not at second? What? Somebody else is making an error at second base?
Right.
Good for him.
Exactly.
Good for him for finding it when it matters. Because that means means, Brig, that means that he's been outstanding this entire time.
He has
Because
start
he
to
has
finish.
been so dangerous at the plate.
Yep. He's leading off and he's clutch, and it's awesome. It doesn't matter if he's coming up number one guy in the inning or if he's, the third plate appearance, the third guy up at the plate in the inning. It doesn't matter. He's killing it. Okay. We're going to get into who you got, but I want to say something.
Okay.
Home field advantage matters. I know you don't like that. I know you think it's dumb, but with these two franchises, the long stretch that it's been between these this rivalry, East versus West, I mean, like, the storylines are electric, man. The stars are going to be out. If Aaron Judge can pull it out and start actually hitting the baseball like he's supposed to, this will be a knockdown, drag out experience. But when it comes to home field advantage, I'm so excited that it's starting at Dodger Stadium, because that means that we'll get 3 at home, no matter what.
It's true. Yeah,
It is true.
I think the format is so wonky because I understand you win one of the first 2 games on the road, you take back home field advantage simply by math, right? If it's 2-2, 1-1-1, by math, you have home field the rest of the way. But you have absolute home field advantage if you take one of those 2 on the road to start the series.
It's not 2-2, 1-1-1. It's
2-3-2.
It's 2-3-2. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the part I was getting there, but forgot to get there.
I see.
The 2-3-2 gives you absolute home field advantage.
Yeah.
By way of the next 4 games being, especially if you win that first one.
Oof.
Holy smokes, dude.
Oh yeah.
Dangerous.
I think if the Yankees win game 1, then your inference, the point you just inferred, is a big deal. If the Dodgers win game 1, I don't think it's as catastrophic as had the Yankees won the first game. I don't think it's as impactful, personally.
Yeah.
And that's a huge deal, because every single moment is going to matter in these games. The other thing I was going to point out really quick, it has just escaped me, but dang it, it was really good. It was really good.
Well, let us know when it comes back, Brig.
All right.
So who do you have? I mean, I'm assuming you have the Yankees, obviously.
I do.
How many?
Yeah,
how many do you think it's going to take for them to win it?
I think it'll go. Boy, I don't know. It's 5 at least.
You think the Yankees could get the job done in 5?
I think it's going to go 5 at least.
See, I think at least 6. Either way.
Mm-hmm. I can see 6. I want 5, but I can see 6.
Well, of course you do. You probably want 4. But
4 would be great. It's not going to happen. 4 is not going to happen, but 4 would be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I can see 6, though. 6 is a very realistic possibility, but honestly, I could see 7 happening. Like, I really could see it coming all the way down to the wire. I think that these two teams are pretty evenly matched outside of the offensive capabilities that the Dodgers possess. The only thing that will swing that vote to a more balanced projection or prospect is if Aaron Judge comes with his head right. He doesn't have his head right now.
Right. Yeah. No, I can see that. So I'm going Dodgers in 6. I'm sorry, Brig. I will say, if the Yankees win in 4, 5, 6, or 7, I will not be sad because I will be happy for you.
Thank you.
But I have to say that I just feel like the Dodgers have the edge. It's so hard to slow them down offensively. I don't care how many pitchers you have, how good they are. They're scary. It's so scary.
And our pitching is the thing. We have the edge in pitching, and they have the edge in offense. That's why I think it's going to be a slugfest.
So, Yankee pitching, let's talk about that for just a second, because I think we jumped over that just a little bit. Okay. It feels like it's been starting pitching and the back end of the bullpen. What's the middle of the bullpen look like? That, because that's where it feels shaky to me.
It can be shaky. It just depends on how many pitches and how many innings we've had guys out there. for instance, Tommy Kahnle went out and threw some gazillion changeups in a row. Like I think it was 40 pitches where it was just changeups in all of his combined, in one stretch of combined innings pitched. It was like some crazy amount of changeups, and that's all he had. But he got the job done with changeups. So again, like I don't think if the guys are able to locate their pitches, and if their stuff is good, then the only thing that will work against them is if we got to have more than 3 outs, 4 outs. It will be repetition. It will be the Dodgers being able to get the number of guys they see over and over and over again. Outside of that, I think that the Yankees, even the middle of the Yankees rotation, is fine. It's going to come down to how many looks. They're going to have to shake it up.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't feel like you can go the same guys over and over and over again against the Dodgers, because it's like we were sitting there watching the game the other day, and I was telling my son, I was like, it's hard to get guys like Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts out 3 times in a game if you're throwing the same pitcher at him every single time. And it's going to be the same thing with relievers. If you throw the same relievers at them 3 times in this series, they're going to get you one of those times, guaranteed.
100%.
I don't care who it is. They're going to get you, because that's 3 times within a week.
Yeah,
that you're showing him what he's got.
Yeah, I haven't been able to trust Carlos Rodon until this last appearance, and then I was like, okay, not right. As afraid. Weaver's great. Cole is great. Schmidt was great. He's got a 386, a 3.86. He's at 5.8 Ks per 9. So that's good. It's Jake Cousins that worries me. Ian Hamilton's out, so I'm not worried about that. But Jake Cousins really has my... I did not like the way he showed up. And I think Leiter did great given the substitution situation. He came in and, they were like, hey, we need you tonight. It's like, okay.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know what I mean? And he came in and did
fine. That's exactly how that felt. Yeah.
Yeah. So yep. I don't know. I think it's going to be, I think it might, okay. If the running stays, if the offense stays the way it was in the Cleveland series, it's going to be one of the greatest World Series we've seen in a long time. If the offense spikes like it did in the NLCS, I think it's going to be boring.
Yeah. I think it'll be closer. I think it'll be a lot closer.
Too. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, because Cleveland had good pitching. The Dodgers don't have great pitching. And yep. I know that's basically saying the same. I should just say, because I don't want to say the Dodgers don't have good pitching, but it's not as good as what Cleveland has.
No, and it's not as good as the Yankees. It's not.
No, it's not. It just is not.
Well, pitching wins championships, dude. Like, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to every single time.
We've also seen sometimes, though, where it's like, if you have a potent offense that can undo good pitching, you can still win, and you will.
You can. Yes, you can.
And that's the thing that the Dodgers have, is I feel like the Dodgers were just like, well, we didn't do a whole lot to shore up our pitching. Let's hope we don't have a whole lot of injuries. Oh, we got a whole lot of injuries. Good thing that offense is really good. And here they are. Here they are.
Yeah. It's true. It's true, and it's heartbreaking.
That's how it feels, the Dodgers. Let's get into today in baseball history, and then we'll get out of here. So today in baseball history, October 22nd, 1997, with snow flurries and a 38-degree game time temperature, Game 3 in Cleveland is the coldest World Series in history. Home runs by Manny Ramirez and Matt Williams make it a long night for the Marlins and a 10-3 win for the Indians. But baseball family, let us know what you think is going to happen in this World Series. We want to see some of your predictions down in the comments on YouTube. Hit us up. You can send us an email with your predictions if you want. You can send it to baseballtogetherpod@gmail.com. You can hit us there with your predictions, questions, comments, concerns, snide remarks, anything else you want to send our way. And if it's appropriate, we'll read it on the show, because that's what we like to do.
You can do that on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube as well, because we're hovering over those comments and those DMs, so you can slide into our DMs and let us know what you think, and you can shout up to my ivory tower and tell me how wrong I am if you want. That's fine.
That's right. So like, subscribe, rate, and review everywhere that you can, everywhere that it's possible, especially on YouTube. Again, we are formulating a giveaway to celebrate 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We'll get there and we'll let you know what it's going to be. No live this Thursday because we're not going to have any games between now and then.
Nope.
So no live this Thursday, and then no live the next Thursday, even if the World Series is still going, because it's Halloween. We're going to be trick-or-treating while watching the game on our phones. So
yeah,
there's that.
I'll have my earpiece in. I'll be like,
listen,
grinding my teeth.
Your daughter's, Dad, that house wasn't that scary. But anyway, baseball family, thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you next week.